Good morning, Nick Wusz. Welcome to
Hi.
I Hate Music. We're back.
Yes. Actually, I love music, but yeah, I hear you, man.
Yeah.
I'm glad to be back. It's been a while.
I love music, too. I get a lot of people asking questions about why it's called I Hate Music, and there's a lot of reasons for that, but I don't think it's like a big mystery that we actually do enjoy music, right? I mean,
Yeah. Do you remember, like, in the 90s, it was a thing, like I Hate Primus was a thing and stuff like that.
Yeah, Primus sucks, and
Primus sucks. Sorry.
Yeah.
Totally screwed that up. Oh, my God. That's
I hate
bad.
Primus.
Let's start the podcast over, dude.
Yeah.
Primus sucks, yeah.
Actually, I mean, I guess since it's been a while, I'm just going to briefly explain, just briefly. But I Hate Music was born because of the band Fossil Fuel. They have a song called I Hate Music. And the more I thought about it, I thought it actually goes a little bit deeper than that. And when I had Dan Swano on many years ago with Ramin, he and I kind of connected on it a little bit. And he was like, I know what you mean. Like, I hate music. It's because it's all consuming. It's all you care about. It's all you think about. It damages relationships. It damages marriages. It damages friendships. It's this passion that you can't get rid of. And so now I try to think of it in those terms more than just
I like that.
Like some kind of ironic, like flippant remark, like I hate music, So I tend to think of it more
good.
like
I like that.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's kind of...
my wife says I have a musical Asperger, so I think she thinks that I have obsession with music. So I understand what you mean.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of the whole point, I think. That wasn't the point initially necessarily, but I think at the end of each episode when I had the old format, I used to ask people like, why do you hate music? And it was kind of interesting because some people had some really good insight on those things. Some people would be like, I don't hate music. What are you talking about? But some people kind of got it, so I found that interesting. Anyway, we're back. It's been a while.
We've been a while.
Both been traveling a little bit. We've both been busy with shit.
Yep.
Yeah, Nick,
how it goes, man.
Nick, what have you been up to since our last episode?
When was the last episode? Let's see. Early June, maybe? I mean, it's been a while, dude.
Has it been that long? Shit. Yeah, it's been a while. I mean, it was the body count episode.
Oh, okay. So maybe that was mid-June or something. But
yeah.
Summer's been going by. Went to the South with the family and had a good road trip, prepping for my Traveler's Rest shows. Seeing shows here and there.
Talk about that. You went to some music-related things in the South, right?
Sure did. So I met some British friends that were in Florida. They were there on vacation, so we decided to meet somewhere other than Portland. So we all decided to do a Southern tour, and I kind of organized it a little bit. We started in Atlanta, went up to Dollywood, and then we went to Nashville, Memphis, Birmingham, and then back to Atlanta. So we did like a 10-day tour through the South. It was pretty incredible. And nothing, you've been to the South. It's just, it's a different place, dude. It's different than Portland.
It's a different world, man. Different world.
It was really good for, my 18-year-old daughter to see that, I think.
Oh, yeah.
So I was happy she was along.
Yeah, for sure.
But, we went to Country Music Hall of Fame in Nashville. We went to the Grand Ole Opry in Nashville. We saw, while we were there at the Grand Ole Opry, we saw Vince Gill play, and Charlie McCoy played. He's a harmonica player. He played on Blonde on Blonde, the Bob Dylan album.
Oh, wow.
I was like, oh, man, this guy, he's good. Because I know it's like my favorite Bob Dylan album. Maybe one of the few that I really know. And he was on it. So that was exciting. Old school guy now. He played with Elvis and shit, too. This guy.
Oh, shit. Yeah.
Yeah, he's been around a long time. He's probably in his 80s now. But still jamming on the harmonica. It was incredible. Dude.
That's crazy.
And there were a couple of new kind of country artists that played that show as well. But it was great to see, some older style country. And just to feel that country music vibe. And then went to the Country Music Hall of Fame, which was interesting. And then we went to Memphis and went to Graceland and learned all about Elvis, dude. There's a lot to learn about Elvis, and I don't know, if they're just trying to make it for tourists or what. But Graceland itself was cool, the house and stuff. But across the street, they have all these exhibits, and they're just really milking it. There's gift shops everywhere and shit like that.
Right?
It's crazy.
I mean, that's like hugely music related, like everything that you did.
Yep,
like that's a lot of.
We went to Sun Studios, which is where Elvis first recorded, and Johnny Cash first recorded.
Yeah,
like that was his first recording session. Walking in there.
Damn. Yeah.
Yeah, and all these, Jerry Lee Lewis got famous from that studio.
Mm-hmm.
Bunch of people. early rock and roll stuff, you know.
Yeah, that's
and
awesome.
It was an interesting story. I could probably talk a lot about it. I won't, but it was an interesting story about how that all started. And then we went to Stax as well in Memphis, and that was where like an original kind of funk rock label thing. Bring in like black artists to white people's attention, basically.
Yeah.
It was really incredible.
That's awesome.
So we learned a lot about that, and we hit a blues. Went to BB King's bar and stuff like that.
Oh, cool.
Just some kind of. It was, you know, he wasn't there. He's dead.
Yeah.
but some like white guy was playing some blues and stuff. It was pretty cool. But had some ribs and stuff like that. And then we went to Elvis's house where he grew up in Mississippi.
Wow.
We saw that.
Yeah.
And then Birmingham's where the Civil Rights Museum and stuff like that is. But it was really interesting seeing like the glitz and glamour of Nashville country music white people.
Yeah.
Going to Memphis, which is predominantly black, and Birmingham, which is all black, and just seeing like the degradation of like the museum quality and stuff, you know. They put a lot of money into the Country Music Hall of Fame, but the Civil Rights Museum in Birmingham was kind of run down and needed some updates. You know, it just made me kind of sad for that kind of stuff, and made you really hate all the white people that did that to black people there. Yeah. So it's good to learn, but pretty depressing.
It's rough. But that's why travel is so important, right? Like you get to see that stuff firsthand, and
seeing a documentary is one thing, but actually, exactly,
being there,
seeing it in person is really cool. So
I remember.
It was a good trip.
Aguilar played in Birmingham once. I think it was just once, but it was cool. It was a cool experience, and it seemed like a really cool, like vibrant town, but just a different world than what we're used to. You know, it's just so different. And it's the birthplace of heavy metal, man. Black Sabbath, Napalm Death.
The funny thing is, our British friends are from Birmingham, so they were there. And saying Birmingham. I was saying Birmingham like it is in England, you know, Birmingham, but it's Birmingham, and I kept having to like retrain myself to say Birmingham. But they made that joke a few times to people. Oh, we're from Birmingham as well. People are like, what? I don't even know about the England one.
I always say Birmingham just because of I'm just used to it. But
yeah, me too.
Yeah.
But if you live down there, I think you'd get trained to saying Birmingham, you know.
Yeah. No, when we played there, we made that joke a lot. Oh man, it's the birthplace of Napalm Death.
That's pretty good, dude.
Where's Mick Harris? He's got to be around here somewhere.
Oh, I'm in the wrong one. Shit.
Yeah. Fuck,
you hear about people going to flying to Australia instead of Austria or something.
Yeah.
You know, it's like where are the kangaroos in this fucking place?
I know. I don't know if this is true, but I've heard that there's actually like a desk in like Melbourne or something like that where it's like, oh, you meant to go to Austria, but yeah. I don't see how that's possible.
No,
like,
not now.
Like modern day? No.
No. Maybe back in the day, there's a paper ticket and they're just looking and they can see, you know,
maybe
a mistake. But then how would you have a seat? Maybe the flight wasn't full. Anyway.
And the flight would be much different. Like if
you realize like halfway through, you'd be like, oh, geez, I think I'm going to the wrong space.
Like my flight
is taking 20 hours.
Yeah, my flight is 10 hours longer than it should be. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, that's great.
It was a good trip, and we're back. And I've been prepping for these shows for the synth stuff, so it's been fun too.
Yeah, so you've got your debut Traveler's Rest show on Friday at No Fun in Portland.
Yep.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I hope you'll be there.
I'll be there. I was supposed to be in Montana, but I canceled my trip just for this.
That's so nice of you.
I know.
Thank you, bro.
Yeah, I'll be there for sure. Of course, I'll be heckling you from the front row.
Good. What have you been up to? How are you?
Good. I guess since last episode, we went to the San Juan Islands, which I've always wanted to go to. It was my debut visit to the San Juan Islands. I loved it. It's just great. It's that whole San Juan area, and then the Olympic Peninsula and stuff. It's just it's like heaven for me. It's just amazing up there. I just love it so much.
It's a good place, I think, because it's kind of difficult to get to. You know, it takes the ferries and all these things, so it kind of weeds out a lot of people, which is nice. It does. It's not so crowded up there.
But it's just beautiful, man. It's just you've got everything. You got the mountains, you've got the ocean, you've got the sea life, seafood. We stopped by a couple breweries with amazing beer. I went to this place in Port Townsend. I wish I could remember the name of the brewery, but it was just so cool. Awesome. But yeah, had a great time up there. Spent a few days up there. Then I performed at Lunasa Cascadia this year.
How'd it go?
It went really great. Yeah, you got to go. You got to go one of these years.
Again, I missed it. 4 or 5 years in a row now.
Yeah.
Well,
You're always out of town over
yeah.
that weekend.
Yeah, summer is just, I don't know why. I got to put in my calendar for next year.
Yeah, summer's hard. Summer's always busy, but this year was great. Toby Driver played, Blood Mist played. I played as Moonbladder Friday night. I debuted my new set, which was a big push for me, a big challenge for me. I think if people know Moonbladder, they know it as kind of improv, noisy type of stuff. And I started to move away from that a little bit with my EP that just came out, Dark Sky Equilibrium. Still pretty noisy, but it's definitely composed. But my new set is kind of a combo. Well, I play a little bit off of that EP, so I play 2 little sections off that EP live, and then I have a bunch of new stuff that I'm working on. I played 2 new songs in the set that I've never played before. And the last song is very much kind of like a trip-hoppy song where I play keyboards, and I have Jori from, well, everybody knows who Jori is.
Yep.
He sings on that song, and but we didn't tell anybody he was going to do that. So,
oh, cool, dude.
He got on stage, and people were like, "What is that Jori? Like, what the fuck is he doing?" And I think it really resonated with people. People seemed to really enjoy it, and were pretty shocked at the difference.
Yeah, well, you're moving away from. It seemed to me you were just kind of jamming on stage. Before you were just kind of like freestyling, being spontaneous, which is a whole nother realm of creativity. But now it's something different.
Like actual composed songs that I'm playing.
Yeah, that's cool, man.
Really trying to break free of self-imposed and genre-based paradigms and limitations. Trying to break free from things that I thought I wanted to do instead of, or like in favor of doing things that I actually want to do. Just like
I think we could probably talk a lot about that. This idea of what is restrictive in the noise arena, and I'm not familiar enough with it to know like what would be too far outside the boundaries of that genre.
Well, right, like there's I think with any genres those rules apply, but like especially in noise, there's a huge movement of like no laptops, no backing tracks.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I'm like, but for the stuff that I want to do, like I'm writing these songs at home and I want to play them live, and I want to be to a point where people can go to my show and buy a record that sounds at least somewhat like what they heard at the show. And with what I was doing before, like I don't want to make records like my live show. And I was like, that's a problem for me. I want to make records and replicate them live. So I'm going to use some backing tracks, and I'm going to push myself, and I'm going to push on those boundaries. And honestly, that Lunasa show, and then I played Tuesday at Azoth in Portland, opening for Compactor, and those are the 2 best shows I've ever had in my life, as far as my solo stuff goes. Which I did not expect to feel that way at all. But it was hard. It was hard. It was different. I was pushing myself in ways that I'm not used to, especially in the live setting. But at Lunasa, I had Jori on stage with me. I had Ellery on stage with me, my daughter Ellery.
That's so cool, dude.
And I felt like the vibe was perfect. I felt like the image was great. It really projected well. It sounded way better than I thought it was going to, especially at Azoth. And then it was just those type of performances where you push yourself and you don't really know what's going to happen, and it turns out 10 times better than you even hoped. So like,
yeah, I mean that's living on the edge right there. You're describing you're describing ecstasy, where you've transformed into something that you didn't even expect.
Yeah, at Azoth I had a couple issues. I had a pedal that went out in the middle of a song, which is a pretty important pedal, and so I was trying to deal with that, and I was so involved in what I was doing I didn't look up for a bit. But then Jori went into the audience and he started handing out these little lights that I had on stage, these little tiny like LED ball lights that emit this really bright light. And he started handing them out to everybody in the audience, and I looked up, and everybody in the crowd was like holding this like glowing light in their hand.
Oh, amazing.
And it's like I get chills just thinking about it now. And then Jori came up just in time to sing his song, and the song is like really downtrodden, like I said, kind of like a trip hoppy type of thing, but like really piano forward. And everybody's just holding these lights, and it was just like, it was just like you said, it was like bliss, like heaven. It was amazing. Just couldn't be happy.
But that kind of risk could end a disaster.
It could end a disaster, right?
That's what's so exciting about it.
Yeah, but it's almost in a way less scary than what I used to do, because what I used to do was so improv based that it can just go completely off the rails, and I don't know what to do, and I don't know how to recover. Where with this
Yeah, right.
stuff, it's like playing an agalloch. Like if I fuck up, I can recover because there's an actual structure, an actual song.
You
to
have another
follow.
song to try again. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah. So, but yeah, man, I could go on, about that.
Well,
for
congrats,
a
man.
long time,
Sounds
too.
amazing, and I hope to see it live myself soon. So.
Yeah, you will. I guess I have a few things coming up, but the one thing I can announce is I'm playing High Watermark with Feral Season in September, I want to say.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
So you guys are going to Australia, so it'll be after that sometime.
Yeah. Agalock's in Australia, first week of September, and then Moonbladder's playing Eugene and Portland with Feral Season sometime in September.
Okay, yeah, let us know, man. I want to see that.
Yeah, I got a few other things coming up, but nothing I can announce yet.
Cool.
But yeah, let's not dwell on this too much. But I also had my first Recording Academy board get together in Seattle, and that was great. Met a lot of people.
So you're a member of the board now. You
Yeah.
have some additional responsibilities and stuff. Or
Not
what's
yet,
your
not yet.
role?
But yeah, but it was like a happy hour meeting. So we went up to Seattle. We went to the Climate Pledge Arena, and they have it's a green room for the artists. It's like this giant arena in Seattle, and they have a green room for the artists. There's also a recording studio.
Oh wow, damn.
Yeah, and so we had our happy hour in this recording studio. We got to see the board and the booth, and it's a Amazon Music deal somehow or something. But the whole point is like they get these giant fucking artists that come through, and they're like, "Hey, we have this green room for you, fully stocked, like totally swanky green room." But like, hey, if you want to lay down some shit, we have like a house engineer and a fully functioning studio right there.
Holy crap, that's cool.
Yeah, it was really
that's a
cool.
good idea.
Yeah. So
is it also used to record the artists live, or is it
I don't think
mostly
so.
just for them? Okay.
Yeah, I don't think so. But I've never been to that arena before. I didn't even know it
Is it
existed.
usually a hockey arena? Yeah, what is it?
Yeah, it's hockey, I think. It's the Krakens or whatever, the Kraken.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, it's like in the basement of this place, and it was super cool. And so I got to meet the other board members. Some of them I knew already, but some of them I didn't. Got to hang out with your good friend DJ OG1 for quite a while.
Dude, I love that guy, DJ OG1.
Yeah.
Kicks ass. He's the best DJ in the NBA. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, for people who don't know, he is the DJ for the Portland Trailblazers.
Yep, and he does a good job. It's incredible.
Yeah, he's great. So we connected, we hung out for a bit, exchanged numbers. We're supposed to hang out soon.
Awesome.
But yeah, that was a cool experience. So it was kind of a whirlwind. It was Lunasa, Friday through Sunday, Monday in Seattle, and then Tuesday I played my show in Azoth, and I was
Jeez, man, yeah.
I was exhausted.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
I bet.
Yeah.
Did you see Amy Dragon up there? Or?
No, she bowed out of the academy, so she's just like a friend of the academy now.
Okay,
so
nice.
She bowed out, and I kind of like am coming in to take her spot in a way.
Yeah.
So yeah, no Amy, but met up with a few friends and made some new friends and had some good food, and yeah, it was great.
That's pretty cool. You're getting involved like that. Another example of boundaries pushing through. And
Yeah, dude.
Getting out of our comfort zone, man.
Yeah, well, that first MDF trip, I remember that first one we went on. Like we were hanging out, and I was like, I'm supposed to hear like any day now about like if I'm accepted to the academy. Like I applied to be a part of it, and then it was like a few weeks later, like I'm in, and now I'm on the board. It's fucking weird.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, it's crazy.
2 years ago, a little over, I guess.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So that's been about it for me. As always, everybody please visit the Earth and Sound store. Got a few more copies of the Dark Sky Equilibrium EP left on cassette. Turned out really well. We've got
It's awesome, man. It sounds so good in my Walkman, dude.
yeah,
Seriously.
it sounds really good. Thanks to Jori for mastering that bitch.
Nice.
We've got Snares of Sixes, we've got Dolvin, we've got Traveler's Rest. Actually, your Traveler's Rest shit is sold out through Earth and Sound.
Can you believe it, dude?
Yeah, you gotta hook me up with some more copies of that.
Yeah, no problem. I'm gonna have some at the shows too. So.
Oh yeah, and please, people that are in the Portland area, go to the Traveler's Rest show Friday. No fun.
Yep.
And yeah, we got a lot of shit in the store. We still have a few of the I Hate Music Scum design shirts and hoodies, and down to our last very few of the Ramones design as well.
Nice.
Also, we started a little thing just as of yesterday. We are now on Patreon. I decided to do this to help cover costs. It does cost money to do this. Not a lot, and it's not about the money, but it would be nice to recoup that money and to recoup some of the expenses for time. Obviously, we've done some traveling with this show, Hell's Heroes, MDF.
Yeah, we could make that a business expense.
Make that a business expense. Yeah, pretty soon we're going to be rich from this shit, you know? But it would be nice to, recoup some stuff, keep this going. I have some ideas. It would just be nice to be able to have some funds to expand the podcast, try some new things, push on the boundaries that we have for this as well.
Very good.
And so, yeah, if you want to sign up for that, we have $5 a month tiers, $10 and $20. The Patreon link is in the show notes. It's also in our link tree, which is on our Instagram and Facebook. The show will never cost money for you guys, but for us, it does at times. So it's nice to get recouped. So yeah, if you feel like it, do it. I feel very happy because we already have some members. Our good friend Sebastian from Romania, he was the first one to sign up.
Number one fan, dude.
Number one fan. Yep, he was representing in Romania recently. There was that festival called like Rockstadt or something. Nice. He was sporting his scum design there. I know Cynic played that. A bunch of bands played that, but he was sporting that shirt there. Of course, old friend Paul Stolp, he signed up as well. Thank you, Paul.
Paul's the best.
And a Kyle signed up too. So
yeah, we got a Kyle on board.
Yeah, got a Kyle. So far we have 3 members of the Patreon. Thanks so much for that. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. That's so cool.
Yeah. As always, we also have our playlist on Spotify. Nick has yet to add to it. But yeah, we have the playlist on Spotify. You can find that in our link tree. And as always, again, please send in emails. We got a lot of really great emails this time. So many that I can't read all of them. This is the first time ever that I'm not going to be able to read all of them, or it would take like an entire episode. But yeah, hate.pod.music@gmail.com. Send in some emails. And before we get into the emails, I just want to announce a quick contest that I want to do.
Nice.
Let me be clear. I am not looking to replace the I Hate Music theme song. But if anybody wants to send in an idea for a theme song, they want to record, they want to write a new one, whatever, I will play it on the air. Just send in like your version of the original or a brand new one. It can be you singing into your phone. It could be a full studio thing. You could hire Philip Glass to do it, like whatever you want to do. Send in a version of the I Hate Music theme song or your own version, and yeah, I'll play every single one of them on air, I promise.
Love that. That's great, man. Those going to be some good ones.
And Nick and I are going to vote on the best one, and whoever has the best one, best not necessarily meaning good, but the one that we like the most, I'm going to send a giant...
The thrashiest one?
The thrashiest one, yeah. I'm going to send a care package of swag, too. So
nice. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and do that. Also send that hate.pod.music@gmail.com. WAV or MP3 is best, or a link to a share file program or something like that. Anything. I'll accept anything. But yeah, send it my way. So, Nick Wusz, are you ready for some listener emails?
Hell yeah, that's so cool. You got so many.
I got a lot. Yeah. I'm going to get this one out of the way first because I'm pretty sure this is just spam. So,
is it from a girl in Yugoslavia?
No,
there's no Yugoslavia. Former Yugoslavia?
It's got to be spam, though. It just says, I hope this message finds you well. I came across your profile on Facebook and was really impressed by your talent, which I think is really appropriate because today we're going to be talking about talent.
Nice.
My son's birthday is coming up soon. I want to surprise him with a unique song that reflects his interests. I believe your skills could make it truly special. My budget for this project is $550. This
is spam, bro.
Would you be interested in taking
100%.
this on? I look forward to hearing from you. Best regards, and there's no name. So, I don't know.
What other spam you got, man? Let's read all your spam.
No, that's the only spam. Okay. Yeah, but I thought that was kind of funny. Oh, God.
That was funny.
Okay, so here's an email from a Kyle. All right. So remember last time we did an email from Kyle, he sent us a couple songs. He had like that hip hop thing, blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
He says, "Hey, Nick and Jason, appreciate the mention last pod and doubly so for the mention of my friends. For Jason, my last name is pronounced Hader, and that art from Sebastian rocks. I disagree with Nick's reaction to call Brian's work ICP adjacent." But I'm glad that...
Yeah, I did say that. I remember now.
Yeah, you did. But I'm glad that particular video gave its intended spooky effect. That being said, Nick, I Nick had a really nuanced take on the whole thing, which was so refreshing to hear, even if I disagreed. And then he sent a couple more links. For that.
I hope we haven't lost to Kyle because of my comments.
No, I think he's good. He sent a couple links to more stuff from that Brian guy. I'm not gonna play it, but I think it's that same guy that you called ICP adjacent. He's got
Damn it.
he's got a pseudo gospel track. Kyle says,
oh, cool,
and a track that bucks the idea of it being ICP adjacent from his most current project. But yeah, we obviously like that guy. Thank you again, Kyle, for sending in that shit.
Thank you, Kyle. I'm sorry if I offended you, Kyle.
But
I didn't mean to.
Yeah, I don't have time to play this today, but yeah, again, I appreciate the links. He also said, is a question for both of us. How do you feel about music videos? Are they a lost art, or are they outdated and hacky? Or no, sorry, hokey. What were your favorites when they were popular? And then he said, here's one I made for the Atlas Moth with $0 just for the love of it, and a grade in film school. Thanks, guys.
Oh, that's cool. That's a good question.
Yeah, it is. I've got mixed feelings on videos. What do you think, Nick?
Yeah, I mean, let's talk about the early days of music and how we were exposed to music. Music videos helped a lot.
For sure.
I mean, thinking about seeing Headbangers Ball and seeing Death, Lack of Comprehension.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Seeing 4th Century, As Above, So Below.
Oh,
seeing
yeah,
these
dude.
things and being like, oh, my God, these are amazing bands that I probably wouldn't have heard otherwise, or I didn't have them on my radar or whatever.
Yeah. I remember Dead Embryonic Cells was a huge one for me.
Yeah. It was that a concert video? I don't remember.
No, they had like an actual video, but yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, they did a few ones. They did Territory where there are, I don't remember. They did Territory too, but I was thinking about Slayer. I think was up in like some desert scene. It was probably like
it was Egypt.
Season in the Abyss.
It was the pyramids.
Yeah. Was it Season in the Abyss?
Yeah, it was. Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, those were really awesome to see.
Yeah.
And I think in the world of YouTube, coming up to modern day, I think the world of YouTube, it's kind of important way to promote your band.
Yeah, it is.
I put my whole album on Travis Rest stuff. I put my whole album on YouTube, and it has like 800 views or something. And it's like a good way for people to check out your Bandcamp. So
yep,
that's not a music video per se. It's not a video at all. It's just a background, but I'm just saying that may be a more modern way to promote your band. So yeah. I haven't really watched a lot of music videos for bands lately, actually.
Me either. I think as an art form, it doesn't hit me the way it used to, and I think the reason it hit me before is because it was just such a new way for artists to express themselves. And it was, like you said, it was like a different way of discovering things. Rather than just like magazines or word of mouth or whatever. But I don't really follow many videos. I mean, Thief makes some great videos. I enjoy their videos, but I'm just obsessed with that band. So I love everything that they do. I think that the whole, like the visual aspect I think is important because of YouTube and things like that. But I feel like it's just different than it used to be. Like I don't see a lot of bands doing, at least in our genres, like big budget videos like they used to. It's like lyric videos or like a nice background, kind of like what you're talking about.
It's just another way for people to audio listen, basically.
Yeah, I think so.
Because I think a lot of people have YouTube in the background when they work and stuff like that.
Especially younger people. I know like a lot of kids, they listen to music on YouTube. So then,
that interesting.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean...
but you guys did Ashes, and that was awesome. You were on MTV. I mean, it was...
yeah, we did None Like the Waves. It was...
None Like the Waves, sorry.
Yeah.
And it was an awesome thing that you guys did, and I think that will help to promote your band to the next level. So it works for bands. Maybe back then it did. But.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's still important, but it's not something I'm super interested in, but I do recognize it's important. And I think it can help... Like if people are into it, like if bands are into that visual aspect, it can really help them progress the music in a way that, it wouldn't be able to without it. So,
yeah, it's just not as effective as it once was. Like you think about Aha, Take On Me, or some of these original videos of how, it transcended music. It was just like an art form in itself.
Yeah.
That's pretty
totally
cool.
Separate thing. Yeah.
And I appreciate bands that like put stories into their videos and stuff like that. But
yeah.
I don't know. It's been a while since I've seen any new videos, so I'm not really sure what's happening now. And if even like modern artists are doing that, they probably are.
They probably are. Yeah. Like I said, I mean, it's like Thief for me. Those are the videos I see and that's it,
Yeah.
really. And their videos are great. I don't know. So yeah, I'm into it. Just not. I don't really keep up with it too much.
I think for a band that doesn't have a budget, you need to know a videographer and stuff like that,
Yeah,
and that's not necessarily in our wheel set when we're musicians and stuff. So.
Yeah, and it's just more money too. You know, it costs money.
Yeah.
A couple months ago, I did that video for the new snare song that we did.
Yeah, that turned out pretty well.
Yeah, and I'm really happy with that. But also, like, I've got a guy. You know, so it helps to have those people that I can delegate things to. I'm not. Like, I know what I like and I know what I want, but I'm not a very visual person. So I was just kind of like, was able to guide him in a general way. And I'm like, you're the guy, you're the visual guy. Like, you do your thing, and I'll help guide you. And it turned out great. And so I appreciate that as a vehicle for more people to get exposed to my music. And it does add to the music. And I am really happy with that video. And I do have ideas for Moonbladder videos too, but it's just not a priority either. So
it's interesting thinking about your music in a visual form.
It's
an interesting thing. You know, like Gwar does it.
Oh yeah,
Just to mention
Gwar, yes.
But you know,
everybody take a drink.
But you know, a band that all their visual is just as important as music. You know. Yeah, that's an interesting thing.
No, it is. I guess
that's not how I think about, necessarily. But
no,
there are some true artists out there that can do it all, that have that whole well-rounded kind of like idea for how their music's supposed to look.
And it kind of plays into the mascot thing we talked about before a little bit, like having that imagery. Yeah. The band I think of that comes to mind first is like one of the most simple ones, like the Ramones. Like they had a united front. They were a united force. It's not like a video per se, but it's just like the image is important, like a Gwar or whatever. But if you can translate that into videos too, which I think Thief does really effectively, especially if you kind of know the background of the music and who those people are. I think it's really effective. But to like get all those things lined up, like that's transcendent. That's just really hard to do, though.
Ones that I've seen lately that I particularly enjoyed are like Skeletal Remains or Dying Fetus or even Cannibal Corpse. They're putting these like kind of mini horror movies. As videos. Yeah, those are kind of cool,
Yeah, or Obituary had that animated one, I think, a few years ago. Yeah,
yeah, that was a little ridiculous, but kind of cool at the same time. Like, they hired an animator or they had an animator friend or something.
Yeah. Deicide recently had that one where they're like feasting on Christ. Did you see that one?
No, I don't see that.
Oh, it's so bad. Nice. I mean, it's good, but so bad. They're just basically like ripping out his entrails and eating it and stuff. And
I'm taking it to the next level.
Yeah, it's just it's hard to believe that's the same band that wrote Legion.
Exactly.
Back then it felt so serious, and this is like, we're playing with his entrails, and
That's the thing with the like the Iron Maiden video game and the Obituary cartoon thing. It's like
yeah.
It changes like it almost into an ironic thing or something.
I know. Yeah.
I don't like that because I do take it seriously.
Me too. Damn. I know. Okay, let's move on.
But maybe that's just our hang up,
It is. Well, it's totally our hang up, but that's a whole nother episode.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's an email from our good friend Sebastian. It's about death to all.
Nice.
Death is not dead. Death lives in us all. Death till death. Chuck Schuldiner is so missed that so many try to fill the void, and the closest thing is death to all, which is praiseworthy for carrying the torch, and most notably for taking the death name, which they could, or for not taking the death name, which they could. Even more so because they are modest about it by calling themselves a tribute band. Somehow it makes the torch burn even brighter. But as you said, Jason, it's not the same, and I would describe it, given the situation, DTA is a limbo band. When it comes to extreme metal, DTA is a limbo band. I think he means kind of like in between tribute and not, maybe.
Yeah.
When it comes to extreme metal, Chuck Schuldiner is for death metal just as Quorthon is for black metal. They are the Mozart of extreme metal. Same size, impact, tragic passing at a similar age, eternal impact. Chuck defined every angle from which the death metal genre can be explored, whereas Quorthon set the standards in black metal and moved on to create another Viking metal. Yeah, good point, Sebastian.
Good job. That's awesome.
There will always be this debate about whether Possessed started death metal or Venom black metal, but they just hypothesized the terms. I feel the same about Edge of Sanity in regards to Opeth, and do correct me if I'm wrong, Ulver and Agalloch. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty well documented, I think. Side note, Chuck Schuldiner was born on the same day as Buckethead. There's our Buckethead mention.
Yeah. Dude loves Buckethead.
Yeah, it does.
That's awesome.
May 13th, 2 years apart. Chuck in 67, Buckethead in 69. That day for me is a reason for tremendous celebration, even though 13 should be a cursed number. Yeah. On a personal note, I have a tattoo on my back with the Grim Reaper having shredded clothes, reading Bathory, and a cast scythe reading Death. Part of an overall overthought personal ensemble where Agaloc's role is at the quintessential triskelion stage. I don't really know what that means, but yeah, we love you, Sebastian.
Wow. That's amazing.
So when it comes to festivals, if I don't need a metal vest, I can just go bare-chested. Nice.
I love that.
He's got his own battle vest.
Yeah, he does. Nice. Can you put pins in it?
Oh, he probably could.
Nipples?
Oh, man, don't
Yeah,
encourage
he
him because he'll do that. Yeah, Sebastian, if you pierce yourself with metal pins, send us some photos.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Answers to the previous episode. Yes, Nick, you are correct. A DAP. Remember this? He brought up this DAP about listening to music with Tidal. Yes, Nick, you're correct. A DAP is like an iPod, but on steroids when it comes to music playing. Being able to play even DSD files, but adequate headphones are also required. I love your work on Dolvin. It made me crave re-listenings and goes very well with introspection as everything around becomes a blurry background. And then he says,
True.
He says, no, sorry, I have the digital version of Dark Sky Equilibrium because Romania.
Right.
Yeah. Thank you,
I'm
Sebastian.
sure we are lucky to have relatively cheap shipping and stuff within America. I'm sure it's difficult for other countries to pay $15, probably more than the tape in shipping. Sometimes.
Yeah. Okay. So I don't want to spend too long in listener emails, but I've got a couple other really good ones here.
Thank you, Sebastian. That was awesome.
Yeah, Sebastian, you rule. Thanks for your support. Thanks for becoming a Patreon member.
Totally.
Thanks for being our official, unofficial mascot.
Yes.
Yeah. This one is from someone named Stephanie. Seems like a new listener. Dear I Hate Music team, I hope this message finds you well. Honestly, I thought this was spam at first because of the way it started, but it's definitely not. I hope this message finds you well. Congratulations, Jason, on joining the board of the Recording Academy's Pacific Northwest chapter. I really enjoyed listening to the episode with Amy Dragon. Yeah, Amy Dragon fucking rules.
Yes, she does.
And because of that episode, our good friends Engorging Shade hired her to master their new record. So,
nice. Awesome. Got Amy Dragon some work.
Yep. And kudos to Hunter and Gail. The new Gorging Shade record is fucking amazing. And, hats off to those two. Anyway, she's going to be mastering that. Stephanie moves on to say, I wanted to take a moment to express my appreciation for your insightful episode examining the impact of Body Count's debut album.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Kudos to Nick for suggesting the topic. I've always been aware of Ice-T's music, but haven't listened to his discography. Another musician who's been on my radar, but I haven't listened to, is rapper Tech9, who is extremely popular with the metalheads. Do you know why that is? Yeah, I don't know that guy. I've heard that name often, but I don't think I've ever heard them.
Do you think he samples metal songs, or what's the deal?
Maybe. I know. Yeah. I mean, like I said, I've seen that name. I know that name, but I don't know anything about him.
Me either. I'll check that out. I've definitely seen the name around.
Yeah. She goes on. I was curious if you and Nick have been keeping up with the Kendrick Lamar and Drake beef since you're both on the West Coast. I have a little bit just because I love Kendrick Lamar. I don't care about Drake. I don't think most people do. I don't know a lot about the beef, but I adore Kendrick Lamar and think he's a super badass and a genius.
He is.
But, the beef, I don't know much about it. I know that Kendrick came up with a song in 12 hours and had it on streaming services within 12 hours or something.
Wow. Holy shit.
But, I don't know a lot about it.
I don't have much input either. I just saw the headlines.
Yeah.
What's happening.
Yeah. And then she says, did you have a chance to watch the Pop Out Ken and Friends concert that was streamed on Amazon? If so, what were your thoughts? I have no idea what that is.
Me either.
The Pop Out Ken and Friends. I don't know. Okay. Then she goes on. I do not know who originated skits in hip-hop culture, but a really great podcast to check out is What Had Happened Was, hosted by Open Mike Eagle. he sits down with legendary creators in hip-hop to discuss their life, impact, and legacy over the course of a season. Never heard of this either.
Hey, you know what happened here, I think, is that we gained a listener because we were talking about Ice-T.
I think you're right. Because
she's talking a lot about hip-hop here.
Yeah. Yeah,
dude, we've expanded our boundaries.
By at least one listener, yeah.
Yeah, incredible.
Yeah, it's awesome. That's what I want to do. She says that she lists a bunch of people on this show: De La Soul, Run the Jewels, De La Soul again, Queen Latifah, Digital Underground, Macklemore, The Roots.
Wow.
Handsome Boy Modeling School. Yeah, it sounds amazing. Never heard of this. I was not aware of the original version of the Star Spangled Banner, but I'm also not surprised it was pro-slavery. Are you familiar with Manuel? I never know how to pronounce his name. Manuel Gagno's alternate history project about black American slaves using Satanism as a form of rebellion and bondage. If not, I suggest checking out Zeal and Ardor albums. Of course, Zeal and Ardor. We love.
Yeah, we know them.
Yes.
We know them. Those guys are great.
Yep, love Zeal and Ardor.
That guy's great.
Love Zeal and Ardor. Little known fact, we had contacted Manuel about doing guest vocals on the Karate album. But it did not work out.
Damn it.
He was into it, but he was busy. Okay, one more. And lastly, on the subject of rap and metal, I recently discovered a Danish band called Gradients. The song below is called This Abyss. It's really cool hearing a band in the early stages of experimenting with the genre. Do you and Nick have ideas for a unique genre mashup?
Oh, God. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Like dungeon synth hip hop. I mean, that's crypt hop, I believe. That's called
crypt hop. I'm still on the porn folk thing. It's like,
that's good.
Like porn grind mixed with folk. I think it could be.
How about monk rock instead of punk rock? Monk
rock. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, it's like Gregorian chants and shit.
I like that. Yeah. Then she says, I look forward to future episodes and the diverse topics you bring to light. Your podcast consistently delivers engaging content that resonates with music enthusiasts like myself. Thank you for your dedication to exploring the multifaceted world of music in such an insightful and an entertaining manner. Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Damn.
That's great.
Yeah, that's really sweet. Really sweet. Oh, thank you.
All right. Going to make this quick. Oh, okay. So I'm just going to make this really quick because we've been on listener emails for a long time.
Did my friend Matt write yet?
Yeah, he did. I saved him for last. This guy.
Oh, sorry.
This guy's
nice.
This guy's Mark Beavers. He wrote a really long, super nice email. I'm just going to hit on a couple points here. He's a fan of Aglock, saw us in Atlanta. Relatively new listener. Listened around a year ago for the first time when he stumbled across Tanner's episode. In one of the recent episodes, you guys were talking about good experiences with meeting heroes. I met Don Anderson near the bar at one of those shows at the Earl, and he was super nice and chatted for a minute.
He's a pretty nice guy.
Yeah, he's all right. Jacob Bannon from Converge, he hung around the stage after the show, and we chatted. Marcus from Omnium Gatherum. Mark says that he really enjoyed the MDF episode. He was pondering about making a trip, but he didn't because of COVID, blah, blah, blah. I'm sorry to dismiss your email here, Mark, but, for the sake of time. He's been listening to metal since 2002. Nice. He says, I know some people get really into death metal or thrash metal and only stick to that genre, but I find myself enjoying all kinds of metal bands. Let's see. Yeah, he's just enjoying the music that he has been finding a lot of new stuff.
Well, thank you.
2 new bands that he is really into lately, Moonlight Sorcery and, I don't know how to pronounce this, Nospun, Nospun, prog metal band from the U.S.
Cool, I'll check that out.
He says he's...
No Spun, maybe?
No Spun? Yeah, but it's got like an umlaut over the U.
Oh, nice.
He's also been listening to a lot of Eternal Champion, Seven Kingdoms, Smolder, Morgul Blade, Valdrin, Fulci, and Blazin' Right.
Dude, Fulci's awesome. Just put out a new album. And tell him about your love of Eternal Champion. I would love to hear more.
Yeah, write to us about your love of Eternal Champion. I have a hard time with that band.
Jason wants to hear more about that.
Yeah, it's a bit much for me. And then Mark says, thanks for all you do. And he included his phone number. Should we call him?
Call him right now.
Yeah. Hey, Mark. Tell us about Eternal
You're
Champion.
You're on the air. Yeah.
Okay. Last email for the episode because We have just so many of them. This is from your buddy Matt.
Thank you, Matt. Oh, man. Really great fan of our show. Appreciate that.
He's not a fucking Patreon member, though. Like, what the fuck? If you really support, give us that money, you know? I gotta buy a new car.
Your yacht, maybe a yacht.
Yeah. Did Matt tell you that he wrote in or was going to?
No, he didn't this time.
I feel like he writes in almost every episode.
I love that.
But
That's so
I
cool.
enjoy his emails because they're just short, to the point, and they give us insight into you, which is really fun. And they're always addressed just to me, which is also kind of funny. Matt says, "Hey, Jason, great episode so far on body count. I laughed when Nick scoffed at something. When you asked him if he had the cassette with Cop Killer on it, he replied that he got rid of the reissue without Cop Killer, like he was disgusted or something. He gave it to me. Of course,
I did.
Yeah. Of course, I had to buy the first release just now to be cool like him, although I have it on CD.
Nice, yeah.
Also,
well, there was something about that re-release that does piss me off a little bit. I'm sure, that probably wouldn't happen now because we've kind of loosened up about free speech a little bit. But
yeah,
it did happen at that time.
That's a good question. Would that happen now? I
don't think there's there's not 100,000 kids buying body count anymore. So that was what it was.
True. Okay, and then Matt continues on. Also a memory. I'm pretty sure Nick was there. Pantera and Skid Row in Costa Mesa.
Yep. I was there.
You remember this? Okay. I think it was called the Pacific Amphitheater. My older brother, Brian, played basketball at Chapman University in Orange, California with an awesome player named Roger Middleton. Roger was black. He was only about 6'4", but played above the rim like Charles Barkley, but more ripped with muscles. The dude was just a chiseled stud. Anyway,
yeah, he was. I remember this.
You remember? All right, awesome.
Yep, totally, yeah.
Anyway, Roger was a big Pantera fan. Not sure if it was because of body count, but Roger was up front in the orchestra pit. Roger managed to get up on the stage when Pantera was playing a song. Phil, although I could not see for sure, seemed shocked, and it appeared his natural reaction was to hand Roger the microphone. Roger then takes the microphone and starts singing, "Cop Killer, better you than me." Then hands back the microphone and proceeds to jump back into the crowd to crowd surf. I'd hate to be one of those people who had to catch him. Hope you are well, Matt.
I remember this scene. It was like I was kind of in the back, but I remember seeing this guy get on stage.
Yeah.
I didn't know Matt's association with him at all at that time.
Yeah.
But yeah, him and Phil had him embraced, and he gave him the mic, and he just screamed into the mic and stuff. That was hilarious.
Wow.
It's amazing. It showed, there was this time where there was separation of hip hop and metal.
Oh, for sure. It was a
so
huge
it was
separation.
it felt like there was this kind of common oh, that's cool that there was a black guy at the show.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
So it's an interesting thing, and it was celebrated at that time that he was there. So it was cool.
Yeah. I mean, it's still not the most common thing in the world, but it's changed a lot, and not as much for black people as it has for women. It's sad to say, but I am very happy that you see a lot more women at metal shows now.
Yeah, and the stage, the crowd surfing that used to happen was pretty grotesque.
Yes.
With men grabbing them and stuff like that.
And I don't see much of that
But
anymore.
it does not happen anymore.
No.
When they're crowd surfing, they're perfectly not groped.
Yep.
Mostly.
I mean, I think it probably happens here and there, of course, but for the most part, what I'm seeing is it's not the anomaly like it used to be. It used to be like, oh my God, there's a girl here at this, fucking Obituary show.
Now.
And now it's it's. I'd like to see more women in the bands, but that's changing too. But
stabbing, dude,
fucking Crypta.
Crypta,
Castrator. And they're
go on and on.
Yeah, it's all great stuff. But yeah, that was interesting when it used to be anything that was out of the norm, because it was just so unusual. It's any minority or any female, basically in extreme metal, it was a sad time.
That's too bad, and that stereotype kind of lives on.
It does. I mean, it's still there. It's still there, but it's much better than it used to be.
But I hate having to defend it. I kind of
I know.
This like, oh, you listen to metal, that's so it's just chauvinist or whatever. It's like, oh, it's not really, and all these things.
But it
puts me on the defense because I do take it seriously.
For sure.
It's part of my personality, and it doesn't mean that I'm that way or whatever.
But and the thing that I think people tend to forget is there's a huge pool of music, and even if there are a couple of those bands out there that are fascist or sexist or whatever, like. That's a small minority of the giant pool, and like the people we're listening to are, like Buddhists and fucking sensitive people and
calling for unity a lot of times, lyrically advanced in a lot of ways.
Yeah. And that's the stuff
like Dying Fetus,
like Dying Fetus, exactly, or Fulci,
Fulci,
or Cannibal Corpse.
Fulci's so good, dude. He's really good. It just came out yesterday. I'll say it again. It's so good.
I was reading Decibel this morning. This episode is sponsored by Decibel magazine. Not really, but I was reading.
Is it really?
No,
that'd be amazing, dude.
No, but I was reading Decibel this morning, and I saw the ad from $20 Spin for what's it called, Duck Face Killings or something.
Yeah, and that's a reference to one of their movies, which the killer when he's killing somebody, he's like screeches like Daffy Duck. He's like whack whack whack.
Oh wow!
While he's stabbing them, So he became known as Duck Face Killer.
I mean, duck face, of course, makes me think of like selfies, like the girls taking selfies and doing the duck face. Yeah.
Oh, so you thought it was like maybe it's a double thing where they're referring to like killing Instagram influencers and stuff.
Yeah,
like
maybe.
That.
I don't know.
Maybe.
Yeah. I forgot what we were talking about, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, thanks for Matt for bringing that up.
Yeah,
that was a good memory for me as well. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Thanks for the emails. Again, please send in the emails. Really, really appreciate it. It really keeps me going, and it's just like built-in stuff for us to riff off of, and it's really great.
Yep.
So
people are coming up with some good things to topics.
For sure. And some of these topics that we kind of brush over would be cool for like actual episodes. So I
think we could talk about females in metal and
for sure,
black people in metal and whatever.
Yeah,
all that stuff could be a topic on its own. Yep,
definitely. All right, let's move into our main segment, shall we? So for a long time, I've been thinking about this like concept of talent, right? And everybody talks about talent. People have definitions of talent, and especially like in our worlds, people are like, "Oh, this person's talented. That person's talented." And I've been thinking about it for a long time, and it bugs me. I'm like, I feel like I have a lot of mixed opinions on it, so I thought it would be really cool to like talk this out and talk about it like as a subject. I mean, you hear about talent like your whole life, right? It's like when you're in school, it's like, oh, that kid he's really good at football, he's super talented, or this kid like is a great violinist, he's super talented. And if you think about talent as a concept, it's kind of a strange concept, right? It's like this person is born with a natural ability to do something or be good at something.
There are some natural talents out there in certain things, sure.
But like, how far does that go, right? And is that real? Is natural ability real? Like, that's a good question. I mean, I think my argument would be, I think for certain things, yes. Like, I think some people have like a math brain. Like they're more geared towards that, or like physical things, like athletes. Like this person has
was Michael Jordan born that way? Was LeBron James born that way? They are kind of freakishly talented, and
yes,
as the way they're born. But it also came with a lot of hard work, of course. But
right, yeah. But I feel like a lot of times, somebody says like, oh, hey, let's use Eddie Van Halen as an example. Like, okay, dude, super talented. But what does that mean? What does that mean?
I think he'd be pissed off if you told him he was talented, because he'd be like, what the fuck? I was in the fucking bedroom for 6 hours a day.
Right.
For 12 years, from the time I was 6 years old to 18.
Yep.
And that's why he's good.
Right.
And that's why he's good.
And
he probably had the imagination to come up with new things and stuff. So that made him really special.
Yeah.
But as far as his talent on guitar and piano and all these other things, he's just put the hard work in, dude.
And that's exactly what I want to talk about. Like, I feel like talent is something that people. I mean, the definition of talent. I mean, I even looked it up because I was like, I just want to see. Like, the definition of talented is a natural aptitude or skill So that's basically implying like you're
born that way.
You're born with a natural aptitude or skill for doing a certain thing, which I'm not arguing that necessarily.
No, because there's no doubt that you're apt to be good at math, or you're good at art and creativity. You know, there's a brain for that, and the way you're born is, you know,
exactly. Where I start to take issue with it is like, let's use Eddie Van Halen as an example again. Like somebody says that dude's talented, and exactly what you said. That makes it sound. It tends to discredit the years of hard work, sacrifice.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you're
dude. He put his whole life into it.
Yeah,
you know? Everything.
You're implying that this comes easy, that he was naturally born with this, that he was just supposed to do this, and it's just like no work at all, or it comes easy. When in fact, just like you said, these people are like I think about Don Anderson often. Obviously, he's one of my best friends. He's my bandmate. I've worked with him musically since 1997. You know, I'm closer with him than most people in this world, and he is, quote unquote, one of the most talented people I know. I'm not sure that he was born with anything unusual. What I do know is he spent his youth, just like Eddie Van Halen, playing guitar for 6 hours a day in his bedroom. I know that he took music theory classes. I know that he did ear training. I know that he was in all sorts of, he majored in music for a little bit in school. He has, woodshedded for years and years and years. And he's an amazing guitarist.
I think a lot of people that don't have that talent, they see it and they say, oh, he must have just been born that way. So that kind of gives them an excuse to not have to do the work.
Exactly.
And if with anything in life, I don't know, who are we preaching to here? Are there any 18-year-olds listening? If you want to succeed, you have to work hard.
You have to work hard.
And that's a fact of life. If you want to be an accountant or you want to be fucking, gymnast, Olympic gymnast or something, you've got to work real hard.
Yeah. And I think it's just kind of like I don't want to say a dangerous concept, but it's like it discredits that work, and it
does.
And I think also it could discourage people.
I see why now you're sensitive about it. It took me a minute to figure out what you're trying to say, but yeah.
That's why I wanted to talk about it, because it's something that has been kind of brewing in my mind for a while. But I also think it could discourage people. Somebody picks up a guitar or piano or whatever, and they're like, "Oh, I'm not getting this. Oh, I'm not talented. I'm just going to give up."
And that's typically why you don't see a 50-year-old all of a sudden becoming really good at guitar. It also takes time and a lack of responsibility.
Yep.
It takes these things that we have when we're children. And really, if you don't pick up a baseball bat or a guitar or a balance beam before you're 18, you probably won't ever really become an expert at it. You can get good, probably.
Yep.
But yeah, there's something we have when we're our youths, when time is slow, when we have time to sit in our bedroom. We didn't have girlfriends or anything. I didn't, at least.
No.
I wasn't distracted by things.
Yeah.
The power of the P, I wasn't distracted by things because I was just in my room, by myself. It's like, okay, I'm going to play guitar, I guess.
Yeah.
Luckily, it was guitar, not masturbation. You know? I could have been really good at that, too.
But now you're terrible at it. But yeah, it's I see all these kids on YouTube or whatever that are playing bass better than I could even imagine.
Shredding, dude.
And people are like, "Oh, they're so talented. They're 8 years old and they're shredders." And it's like, well, but also look at this situation. Look at where this person is. They're in a room where it's like a professional studio with basses all over the walls. They are in an environment that nurtures this, that prioritizes this. I'm not saying that they're not naturally, adept at doing it necessarily, but there's a huge amount of nurturing there. Or you think about Wolfgang Van Halen. Or
dude, he was around music his whole life. And his dad knew what it takes to succeed.
Yeah.
So he trained him in that way. It's a lot harder if your parents are just out to lunch and at work and they're not focused on you. That's a whole different situation.
Right.
When, Eddie, that's probably how Eddie was, he had to do it first.
Yeah.
But when you have a kid, the kids of athletes and stuff, they know what the path looks like. So it's a little easier for them.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Well, it's more of a nurturing environment, right? It's and they know how to get there. They know what it takes, and it's encouraged for you to do that. Where I feel a lot of times, a kid playing metal on a guitar in his bedroom as a teenager is not necessarily encouraged by the parents always.
Not usually. Usually the parents are like, why don't you listen to Kenny G and Waylon Jennings like I do? You know, why are you doing this for? You know, and they don't understand it, so they discourage them.
Yeah. Or,
and that takes a lot of balls to resist that. It takes a lot of mental energy to say, you know, I want to do this, and I know this in my heart, this is what I want to do. That takes a lot of courage.
Yeah.
And,
yeah.
You know, a lot of people are afraid of that because they're disappointing their parents, too.
Well, I think about Toby Driver, you know, and everybody, like him too, everybody's like, oh, he's such a talented guy. But, like, you know, I know him. He works his ass off all the fucking time. And he's pushing himself all the time. And he's like, hey, Jason, KO.'s cool and all, but I'm thinking about writing a New Age record. And then he does it.
Yeah, amazing.
And then he's like, I'm going to pick up hammered dulcimer, and I'm just going to, like, train on it for hours a day and, like, figure out how it works and how it works harmonically. And now I'm going to play all over the world playing hammered dulcimer. That's just what I'm going to do.
Well, Tanner's like that. And those guys in Bloody Incantation are like that. It's like these guys can do whatever they set their minds to because they know they have work ethic.
Yep.
It's what it is, dude.
Yep.
It's just having the work ethic to know and not limit yourself. Like, oh, I can do that. Why not try it?
Yeah.
I can do it.
It's dedication. Mm-hmm. So I think my argument is, instead of, like, seeing your favorite band and being, dude, they're so talented, be like, wow, man, they put a lot of shit into this. This is fucking dedication, man.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's why metal is awesome too, right? Seeing fucking Cynic play or seeing any of these technical death metal bands play. It's hard sometimes to listen to on a record or tape. But when you see that shit live, it's like, dude, these guys have dedicated their lives to it, and it's really fun to watch.
Yeah. And that's not just music. That's fucking anything. That's
dude, watching the Olympics. I don't know if you watched any, but just like, you know, knowing that these people have trained their whole lives for this moment to be on stage and do the trampoline or do a synchronized dive or whatever the hell it is. It's like, wow, it's pretty fun to watch.
Yeah.
Like, these are people at their peak.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, I love watching just anybody that has mastered whatever they do. It can be a transcendent experience. And as somebody that's into the arts and performing, like, it's inspiring. Like, I went and saw Ellery's play a couple weeks ago. Had to miss Primus for it, motherfucker. But it was honestly, like, and I know I'm biased. She's my daughter, but it wasn't just her. Like, everybody that was performing, it was one of the coolest expressions of art I've ever seen in my life. Oh, and it's a fucking high school performance.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But these people were handpicked too by, like, the theater teacher. Like, it was like the cream of the crop. But it was like small black box theater. Like, they're right in front of you, and it was. I mean, I literally teared up a couple of times, not just seeing Ellery, but just from the passion that these kids had, and
knowing that they put their all into it. Yeah, that's beautiful.
So. Are they talented, or have they surrounded themselves with people with similar passions, similar goals, and they're dedicated to their craft?
That shows you why it's easier to become an actress if you're from LA. If you are from Des Moines, Iowa, dude, and you're not surrounded by, that's how much harder you have to work. You know, like, you have to be the best in your high school, and then you kind of get noticed. Maybe you go to some shitty, you know, community college or something maybe, and they tell you you're good as well. And then you're going to be like, okay, maybe I'm going to move to LA. And then you go to LA, you're like, oh, I'm the bottom of the barrel here. There's a million people here that have been born to be actresses, you know, and they've been thinking about that's the same with every genre and every type of art stuff.
Yeah.
It's pretty interesting. Yeah.
Well, so
being exposed and surrounded by people is so important.
And that's, you know, at an early age, that was one of the reasons where I realized, like, if I really want to make music, like,
you moved to Oregon. Yeah.
I mean, that was, I love Montana, and I wouldn't trade growing up there for anything. It's a huge part of me still. But I knew from early teens, like, if I want to make death metal and really do it the way I want to do it, in the way that I want to do it, to the audience that I want to do it, I can't stay in Montana.
That's right. You have to surround yourself with people, like-minded people.
Yep. And you have to be in an environment that has the clubs, that has the shows, that has the networks, that has the guitar shops, where people know what death metal is. I remember when I moved to Minneapolis, like, people knew what death metal was. In Montana, they didn't in 1993, you know?
Yeah. Well, so you had the vision in your head of where you wanted to go, what you wanted to do. That's pretty rare for a younger person, you know?
I think so, yeah.
A A lot of people flounder for a while until their 20s or whatever. Hopefully they don't have children or anything else that stops them in the future. But at some point they do that.
Yeah.
And you were lucky, and you had the work ethic and the desire. You did it.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people, it takes a little longer.
It does.
And sometimes people get stuck and they're fucked, By the time they get stuck, it's harder to get out of when they have a job that like is got responsibilities and they have kids and all that.
Yeah, I think for me, I think there's some luck involved, and I would never feel comfortable with like calling myself talented by any stretch of the imagination, but like I've been myopic in my goals since I was 12 or 13. And of course,
I think that's important.
Of course, those goals change, and the goalpost moves, and the paths divert and change, and I'm constantly changing and evolving. But I think what I do have going for me, I don't think I'm naturally adept towards music. I think I'm naturally adept at wanting things that are new and wanting change and wanting to be challenged by external and internal forces. And I thrive off of that. And so I think because of that, it made it where like leaving home was scary and doing all these things was scary, but there was no other choice for me. Like I had to do these things in order to be happy. And
you knew like what happiness looked like for you at that time, and it's changing, of course. But
or at least what I wanted.
I mean, you're a lot. Go ahead.
Well, just at least I knew what I wanted to try to do. I never imagined that it would actually work out like it did. I mean, it just felt like it was a chance in a million where I would be in a band that even like played shows. So like that was my initial goal.
And maybe that's an important part of this too, is expectations, not putting them so sky high that you end up failing and giving up.
Right.
But keeping them lower enough to be like, oh, okay, I can achieve these things.
There's some attainable goals.
These are doable. Yeah. That's important.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway,
a lot of this leads to like talking about specialization too. There's people, you want your surgeon to be so focused.
Yeah.
You want your guy to be working on your knee and like, this is all he does. And he does this every day and he's seen a million knees and this is the best. But for me, I feel like I'm kind of average at a lot of things because I have other interests, and I appreciate people that are able to focus on those things. And music is one thing that if you want to be a professional, you really do have to focus. And I think art is like that.
Yeah.
Or being an athlete is like that. And probably, climbing the corporate ladder is like that too. You really have to kind of focus if you want to achieve those goals.
For sure.
So sometimes I feel like I get left behind by things like that because I have interests that are pulling me in other ways.
Yeah.
I want to fix a jukebox, but I also want to work on my music. I also want to fly a plane. I also want to, so it kind of makes me okay at these things. So I appreciate people that are super specialized, and I admire that. I think it takes a lot of work.
It does, but also I think there's something to be said for not being so super specialized too, because I think you can fall into this trap of being like, this is all I know, and in the end, it really limits your outside influence from other things. Like as a musician, as an artist, I find myself being influenced by things that are not music all the time, whether it be film or like Ellery's performance or, even like food, diet, like a hike, like all these things, travel, of course. So all of those things too.
Exposing yourself and increasing your perspective on the world. Yeah, that's really important. But if you're so focused, sometimes it's really hard to do.
I know.
That surgeon guy is probably not going on vacation and not seeing the world and all these things, So he's pretty limited and probably kind of dull and boring to talk to. But he's the fucking guy you want on your knee,
He's the guy you want on your knee.
But I don't want to be his friend necessarily.
Right, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
So there's difference there. Yeah.
There is. Yeah.
And Chuck Schuldiner was probably like that. He's just like a guy who was focused on music and guitar, and he had a singular focus and wanted to stay home, be with his family and stuff. He probably was difficult to be friends with, you know?
Yeah.
And this happens a lot with people that are just like specialized, I think.
Sure.
Because they don't have a personality beyond what they really, really, really know. Right.
But like sometimes that can also be harmful to your work, depending on what you're doing. Maybe not so much for the knee surgeon.
No, but a limitation in some way you're talking about? Or?
Yeah, like I think someone who's making a film should be influenced by politics, by culture, by food, by other film, by music, by art,
But if you're John Carpenter, you don't have to be. You're making horror movies and you're doing it really well,
True.
and people turn out for those. So I don't know.
It depends on what you're doing. I guess, like, I think about the artists, like the musicians that mean a lot to me, and I feel like they are influenced by more than just other music.
Those are because challenging yourself and exposing yourself is important to you.
Correct.
So you are attracted to those guys.
Yes, exactly.
But somebody who is just like wants to be the best guitarist is probably going to be attracted to other people that are singularly focused on being the best guitarist and not being a good songwriter, not knowing anything about the world, or not even caring about anything else.
Right.
Besides that. So that's just your perspective.
That's true. Well, everything is perspective, right?
Yes. But yeah, your perspective is different than mine.
But
I
do you think so though?
Well, no, probably not. In this regard, no, not necessarily.
You mean just in general? Yeah, of course, we have different.
Yeah, in general, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you're gonna find your interests in other ways, and I'm gonna find my interests.
Of course, yeah.
It's just the way the world works,
Yeah, like Iron Maiden. Like, I think you like those guys, right? I mean,
dude, I have to. I have a fucking tattoo. I have to like them now forever.
You have a tattoo.
What if they?
I can.
What if they got canceled or something?
I can see Aces High poster behind you. I can see a Bruce Dickinson poster behind you.
Sure.
But there's a Stranger in Time. Somewhere in Time poster behind you. Obviously, one of your absolute favorite bands. Like, they're definitely influenced by more than just music. It's literature. It's all sorts of stuff.
That's why I like those guys.
Yeah.
Because lyrically, if you could listen to it musically and just be like, oh yeah, it's interesting, it's good, it's melodic, it's fun.
Yeah.
But lyrically, it took it to the next level when they were talking about Alexander the Great and all this history.
Yeah.
So it added another dimension, especially to me when I was a kid and learning about that stuff at the same time at school. It's like, oh shit, these guys are, like, talking about the same thing I just learned yesterday in history class.
Right.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Or poetry class, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I think that was great. I think that was a great discussion about talent. That
was it. Are we done?
Well,
I mean, it could go on forever.
Yeah.
I mean, there was branches of that we went on. It sounded like.
Yeah. It's like I said, it's just one of those things that's been sticking with me for a while. And I
think you need to get to the bottom of like why that bothers you. I think it obviously why it bothers you is because you have put yourself in a lot of hard work. You've done a lot of things where these things take work. It's not necessarily you weren't born that way. And you don't want that to stop other people from reaching their goals because they think it just comes naturally.
Yep. And I feel like some people may sit down with a guitar and be like, I don't know how this works, and this isn't for me. And then you don't have the newest Gigi Allen, and that's,
Well, you could be like a Nirvana or something where they only knew 3 or 4 chords, and it's not about the playing and the shredding. It's about the feeling and the soul.
Yeah, the passion. Yeah.
And that comes out. Well, that's the natural part, I think. The soul is the natural part where the feeling behind the music,
Good point.
There's a fucking guy that spends his whole life in these technical death metal bands trying to be the best guitarist, but they can't write catchy songs, and the songs are just kind of boring after a while or whatever. But
totally,
the guy who can put soul behind it, like Cynic does, is just like the next level.
Yeah.
Like, they are talented in the soul realm as well as the technical, physical realm.
Yeah.
That's incredible when that happens.
I mean, I think that's a really good point. I don't think that putting soul into music or art is something you can necessarily learn. I think you can either do it or you can't. That's
the gifted part. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's a really good point.
You can't teach somebody to have soul, dude.
No.
It's just like, they either have it or they don't.
Yeah, that's interesting. There's a lot of these, like you brought up, like the tech death metal bands. I like them to a point. I can listen to them and be like, oh, this is kind of fun. This is kind of cool. But it just, there's no depth. There's nothing there for me to grab onto. And it's like, oh, this is just kind of like wanking for an hour or 30 minutes or whatever.
Exactly.
But
seeing it live, you might have a different, take on it.
And that's kind of like noise for me too. It's like, I don't really listen to noise on record, but live, I love watching it. It's like,
exactly.
It's a performance thing for me. It's a environment thing for me. But I'm not going to put on.
But you find yourself like listening to Ike and Tina Turner or something. You find yourself at home listening to records that resonate with your soul.
Yeah,
These are the ones you really want to sit and ponder and talk about and think about because they are reaching something deeper.
Yeah. Well, and you brought up Cynic, but obviously, like Cynic goes there, to the nth degree. Like their shit is so it's so technical, but it's so rich, it's so soulful, and like getting to know Paul over the last 8 months or whatever, like he's really, really putting himself into this, and he's really expressing himself through this music in a really, really remarkable way. And there's I see no distinction between Cynic and Paul the person in so many ways.
Yeah, exactly. He's putting himself into it.
It's remarkable.
That's an admirable thing, and takes a lot of courage, dude, to expose yourself, your vulnerabilities, everything, putting it out there to the world and being like, I'm going to probably get some shit for this, but I don't give a fuck. That's not, and as we get older, it's easier to do this.
I think
and
so.
I think that's increased my musical output and stuff because fuck it. Who cares, man? I'm just going to put things out. If you don't like it, I don't care. I really don't.
Yeah. Oh,
but
dude,
it's courageous. It feels good.
Yeah. No, I'm proud of you. Like you, obviously doing the Dolvin stuff, you've been doing that for a while, but the Traveler's Rest stuff, like doing that, and then now doing your very first show, like that's ballsy, man. That takes courage, But I think
thanks, man. But also have a kid that's old now, and I don't have to really parent as much, so I have more time.
Well, you've got more time.
But
you've got more time, but also like, what's the worst that can happen? Just do it.
Exactly.
And
it's fun for me. So,
and if you didn't do it, you'd always wonder, like, oh man, like should I have done that? Like that could have been cool. And there's nothing.
I don't want to live like that.
No, hell
I
no.
don't want to live like that.
No,
there's too many things to do out there. Too many interesting, people to meet. I'm not going to live like that. No way.
No. Well, just like I was talking about with the Moonbladder shows, I could have easily just stayed in my lane, just like, okay, I'm just a noise guy. I'm just making waves of noise, and people like it or not.
Yeah.
And it's kind of fun for me. It's a challenge, and I like it, whatever. But I'm not going to take it to that next level of where I really want it to be. But I started to become better friends with the Thief guys, and I'm like, I really want to, like, I'm not saying I want to make music like Thief, but I want to have a presence like that. And I want to have like a record of those songs that I play live. And I want to have songs that people recognize. And I want to have, I still want to be myself, and I still want to have that noisy aspect, but I want to bring it to the next level. And
that's very courageous and ballsy, because it doesn't always work, dude. It didn't work for Opeth. It doesn't work for Ulver. It doesn't work for some bands but I fucking admire what they're doing.
Yeah.
I really do. But I can't. You're not always going to keep the same fans, though. You're not always going to keep the same people, and that's okay. But that's okay.
That's okay. And I think that even Moonbladder isn't the most popular thing in the world, but I think I did notice like a little bit of shift where people were kind of like that were used to my old set were like, oh, okay. But other people were like, "Whoa! Like this stands out to me." Like,
yeah, awesome.
Yeah,
and that's okay, because that's progressing, and that's the part of life where you're just like, new friends come and go, new people in your life come and go. It's okay.
Yeah. We'll always be friends, though, right? I mean, I think
so.
At this point in time, probably
we've got this core when this foundation has been built.
The
house it's pretty sturdy.
Yeah,
whatever happens on the third floor, maybe that'll tumble, but the foundation will always
right.
Be
The
there,
foundation's there, even if there's like a crack or a leak or like rats in there or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, let's give it another few years, and
it's been 30 almost, so we can say that we're pretty sure that this is working.
Yeah, maybe at 35 years we should revisit and make sure we're still cool with each other. Yeah. No, man.
Well, we're lucky to have had this musical bond, and a lot of people. That's how I met friends in my 20s and late teens and stuff. And we've grown together, and that's important as a friend as we're entering 50. And I don't have time to just talk music all the time.
No.
We talk about other things too, and we're able to progress in our relationship as well. That's really
important. I think it was really important too, because we did have like a little bit of a separation. I believe you moved to England for a bit, and I moved to Wisconsin. Or no, wait.
Yep.
Yeah, is that right? Yeah.
Well, I went to Germany as well. We had, but earlier I was in England.
Yeah, you're in England, and we fell out of touch for a couple of years, I think. But then we had kids at the same time. And that was a huge bonding experience.
Yeah, it was.
And then we raised our kids together.
Yeah, they're able to play together and be friends forever. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's amazing.
That was helpful, and we probably would have been in touch, not to the extent that we were, but
for sure,
still would have been friends.
Obviously, I'm joking,
but it helped us hang out a lot more.
Yeah. Obviously, I'm joking that we're not going to, that there's any friendship issues here. Obviously, that was a big joke.
They would have been ironed out by this point, or we would have been separated from each other. I would have thought.
Yeah.
There's no obligation that I feel to hang out with you. You know what I mean?
No.
There's no pressure or force behind it. It's just a natural thing. So why would I not do that?
Yeah. Just yesterday, I woke up though, and I'm like, "Fuck!" I was like jonesing for another festival.
Well, we got some in our future. Don't worry.
Yeah. We do.
But yeah, nothing more this year that you and I are probably
my year's a little booked already. But you're coming to Fortress Fest, right?
I am. Yep.
Nice.
So we're definitely going to do that.
That'll be great.
And maybe we'll do MDF the year after, right? Maybe.
Yeah, I wish we could go this year.
Like every 2 years or something.
Yeah,
that's okay.
Yeah. No, it's fine. But
the lineup's pretty kick-ass.
I know, of course. Like this year, it's Cynic, it's Obituary playing Cause of Death, it's Sigh.
Yeah.
Like fuck.
Yeah. Sigh. Jesus Christ.
I know. This is the year I have to miss. But no, we'll be in Northern England, and that'll be great. That'll be a lot of fun.
Anyway, but traveling with you has been fun, and we've traveled in the past. So I've met you with Agalok, and having those shared experiences has been a good thing too.
Oh, for sure.
For our relationship.
Yep. Yeah. Definitely. Should we move on?
Well, that morphed. That was interesting.
What's that?
Like it just felt like we were hanging out. The whole conversation just kind of morphed into something else.
Yeah.
I love that.
No, that's great. That's
really cool.
That's
bro.
what it should be like. Should we move on to a
Fuck, marry, kill? What would you fuck? What would you marry? What would you kill?
fuck, marry, kill?
Okay, damn, I didn't think of one, but yeah, I will. Okay, go.
Okay, I don't have one.
Oh no, damn it!
I know.
Neither of us were prepared for this.
I thought about it and then I forgot about it, so I'm not prepared.
Okay, well, let's skip it this week.
Okay,
I'm having a hard time freestyling.
Yeah, usually it's related to the topic, and I'm like, what? How can I do that related to the topic?
We could have I could have named 3 technical death metal bands that aren't that great,
That's true,
but are really technical.
Or we could do let's look who I put on the playlist here. Okay, here you go.
Yeah,
here we go.
Okay, go ahead.
I got one for you. Jimi Hendrix, Eddie Van Halen, or Steve Vai.
Nice. Well, you got to kill Steve Vai, unfortunately.
Yeah,
but he's great. Obviously, we love him. And you know what I listened to not too long ago was that album he did with Devin Townsend. Remember that? It's called Passion and Glory or something.
Wait. No, Passion and Warfare.
No, it wasn't that. He did Sex and Religion. It's called Sex and Religion.
Oh, yes. Okay.
He did an album. He's kind of discovered Devin Townsend, and he put him on this album. And Devin was probably like 18 or something.
Right. Okay.
It's just such a weird mix-up.
I don't think I knew about that.
That's a good album. Yeah, that's a good album.
Okay.
Kill Steve Vai. Mary is an intention of forever. That's Eddie Van Halen for me.
Agreed.
And then, yeah.
Yep. Same with eye to eye, twinning. Exactly what I would do.
It's an interesting thing, like this GOAT conversation that's happening in sports. It's transcending and becoming who's the best guitarist too, and that's always been a thing in those guitar mags and stuff. But yeah, it's always going to be up to Eddie and Jimmy.
Yeah,
who's the best?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I love Hendrix, but Eddie's more my guy in this realm.
Yeah,
for sure.
I saw a Guitar World that nominated Brian May as the best ever, and I think they just did it for selling magazines.
I mean,
because it's like, what the fuck? Yeah, he's good, but come on.
I know. Seriously. Yeah.
Then they put Eddie or Jimmy second.
No,
that doesn't work that way.
No.
Brian May's good, but come on.
I mean, Brian May's great, but he's
of course.
no Eddie or even Steve Vai or Satriani even. Or,
yeah.
Buckethead.
I think what about Buckethead? Buckethead, dude. He's in the argument, man. For those that know, he is in the argument. I think Sebastian would agree.
Yeah. So here, this is totally off subject, but I think we have a second to discuss this since it came up. So you have a better insight into this than I do. Buckethead. I'm confused.
Mm-hmm.
So I was surprised to hear that someone like Sebastian, or not someone like Sebastian, but anybody is so into Buckethead. Buckethead does not seem to me like the type of artist that people would get passionate about.
Yeah, I think they could be considered unpalatable.
Yes,
for many. It's but it goes from great songwriting and chilled albums like Colma, I believe, to the Shred Fest.
Yeah.
That is not as easy to listen to. He does it all. I think that's why. I think people are like, maybe it's like a Mike Patton fan or something, you know, where
maybe, but
they're just fans of everything he does.
But like, I feel like it's also kind of similar to being like, I'm a huge Steve Vai fan. Like, do you sit around and listen to Steve Vai records? Like, does Sebastian sit around and listen to Buckethead
I think they would
records?
argue. They would argue with you on that because Steve Vai is relatively one-dimensional in like the way he plays and stuff. But Buckethead, as far as I know, I am not a huge, a fan, or I'm not a huge. I don't really know his discography that well, but I think he's more well-rounded and into different genres and stuff.
Okay.
I think that's where the love comes from, the passion, because their Buckethead fans are passionate. I've noticed.
It just he's such a. I don't mean this in a bad way, but he's like. The word I was going to use has really negative connotation. I was going to say a footnote, but he's just not like the biggest, most popular guitar player. But
that might be another attraction. Yeah, like a lot of people. He's a weirdo. He's a really
weirdo.
Strange dude.
Yeah.
He doesn't do interviews. You hardly ever see his face. There's some mystery about him that might be as part of the intrigue.
Yeah, maybe. I just don't know much about it.
Like Devil Doll or something.
Like Devil Doll.
Who is that guy?
Like, I don't know much about Buckethead, but when I heard that Sebastian was like super into Buckethead, I'm like, it's one of those artists, like I've never heard anybody say that before. People are like...
Yeah, I haven't met anybody that said that either.
Yeah. It's just, it's interesting.
Let's interview him. Talk about that.
Oh, shit. Should we have Sebastian on about Buckethead?
Hell yeah, bro. Fucking let's
do it. Okay. Yeah. Sebastian, email me. We'll hook it up.
Yeah. We'll get a podcast about Buckethead going. I would love to learn more. I really would, because he put out like 500 albums one year or something.
Oh, really?
He's insane, dude. If you look at his discography on Wikipedia, which I haven't done in a while, but he's prolific, dude. Wow. He's crazy. Like every day he puts out an album or something. For a couple of years. I think he's been sick or things have been going on. But.
Right. Oh yeah, I think he was sick.
And he did a controversial tour recently too, where he had this lady come up. I'm sure Sebastian knows all about this, but he had this lady that was pretty disliked by the Buckethead fans be part of his band.
Oh, really?
And she was kind of fucking up his set, like taking the stage from him and stuff. And evidently, like they stopped the tour mid-tour because people were just kind of revolting.
Wow.
Against this person that he had on stage with him. Yeah, I don't know much more about it than that. I'm on Reddit a little bit here and there. I see Buckethead mentioned, but yeah,
weird. And didn't he play with Guns N' Roses for a bit?
Yeah, he did.
That's so weird.
So we should get Axel on the pod.
Oh yeah,
we could talk to Axel about it.
Axel, send me an email.
We don't want to talk about Guns N' Roses. We'll just talk to him about Buckethead.
Yeah. Axel, send me an email. We'll hook it up.
Yeah.
No, but seriously, Sebastian, send me an email. Let's make that happen. That would be interesting. What I would like, actually, Sebastian, if you're cool with it, I'd like to talk about Buckethead, but also metal scene in Romania. That'd be cool.
Be prepared.
Yeah.
2 topics.
2 topics. Be prepared. Want you to
don't freestyle like we're doing.
Yeah. Make notes. But no, Nick and I spent time in Romania together. I'm sure that Sebastian knows that. But there was that one night we were in Brajov, is that right? And we're hanging out with Negura Bunget and Alcest and Peste Noir, and that was amazing. That's
one of the best musical trips I've been on, man. We were in Bucharest, right?
Yeah,
and then
Bucharest and Brajov.
Brasov, amazing, and we had a great time there, and some difficulties with traveling.
Yeah,
and, it's an interesting country.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. So Sebastian, email me. Let's move on to T-shirt of the day.
It's T-shirt of the day. It's a T-shirt of the day.
Ew, what are you wearing?
Let's find out. It's a T-shirt of the day.
Oh, cool. Well, I'm wearing mine. You see it? No sweater.
I know it's too hot for that.
I went to Memphis and I went to the Sun studio, so I bought a shirt. It's got like a record label on the front.
Yeah, it's like
the A side on the front and the B side.
Oh, really? The B side on the back? Wow, that's cool.
Yep. That's All Right by Elvis. That was his first single that he recorded there at Sun. And that kind of a local DJ took it up and started playing it every day, and that was the start of Elvis's career, basically.
What's on the back?
Yeah. But he saved up like working at a malt shop or some shit.
Oh, really?
To go in there and record it.
Malt shop.
And he used the session band that was in there. He didn't have a band. He just had this song that he wanted to record, Yeah, it's interesting how it all worked out.
Damn,
for him.
that's crazy.
I forget the B-side. I don't. I'm not going to take my shirt off.
Is it another Elvis song, probably, or did they mix it up?
Can you see it?
Yeah, your quality's not great though, so I can't really read it. But
Yeah. No, I don't think he wrote either of these songs.
I mean,
But he recorded them.
yeah, but
It's an Elvis song.
It's an Elvis song, okay.
Yeah, on the beat.
Yeah, okay.
But both of them were written by somebody else.
yeah, legendary studio. That's awesome, man.
It was turned into a auto body shop in the 80s, and so this kind of been renovated now to how it was. Somebody had saved a lot of the equipment and stuff, so they were able to recreate it.
Yeah.
But it's not exactly how it was in the 60s. You know?
Yeah. Well, I didn't really prepare for this at all, but actually it's appropriate. I'm wearing my Crossed Paths T-shirt.
Nice.
Which is my...
That's an amazing logo, bro.
This is one of my favorite all-time logos, designed by my friend
Incredible.
Jason Roberts. This is the war ambient band I have with Andy Whale from Bolt Thrower. And actually, I'm glad that this came up. Andy recently announced his retirement from music. He will no longer be making music. My understanding is...
Do we tell people like that, thank you for your service?
Yeah, I mean, seriously though. I mean, fucking Bolt Thrower, dude. I mean, and you know, he was the OG drummer for Bolt Thrower. He was on records like Realm of Chaos, War Master. I mean, huge records for me. Bolt Thrower was, I mean, still is unstoppable. Especially those earlier records that he was on.
Oh yeah,
just, you know, enormous. And to get to work with him and become a friend with him over the last few years, you know, amazing. Cool. We did our first Cross Paths record 2 years ago, I want to say. We just finished a second one that we will be self-releasing in the next few months, I believe. But Andy decided that he wants to retire, focus on spending time with the fam, things like that. My understanding is that his last show with his death metal band Death Collector was yesterday at Bloodstock. So now he is officially retired. He pulled the plug on Cross Paths, and he is just going to enjoy life, travel, relax.
Cool. Yeah. Respect that.
Yeah. So, Andy, you know, thank you so much for your service. Thanks so much for being such an amazing dude and force, and thanks for being a great, you know, collaborating partner. And it was an honor to work with you and become your friend. So, yeah, here's to Andy Whale.
Cheers, Andy Whale, and now go take a nap.
Yeah, go take a nap, rest up, listen to a record, you know, something like that.
Hopefully your ears are okay. You can hear the birds in the backyard.
Yeah, I think his ears are good. His shoulder is pretty fucked up. He had an issue with his shoulder.
Oh, from a lifetime of drumming, dude.
I could be misrepresenting, but I believe he works in construction somehow too. So,
oh shit! Damn.
Yeah. So yeah.
That'll do it.
But yeah, I mean, if I've had a few people tell me that IHM has become a drinking game, so if that is true, you know, here's to Guar, here's to Kyle. And,
drink.
And Andy Whale. So, yeah. Thank you, Andy.
Thank you, Andy.
Yeah. I think that's about all I had. Did you have anything else, Nick? I mean...
No, that was a great episode. That was fun.
Yeah, that was great. I really wanted to dive into that talent topic. But...
I'm not sure what the playlist is going to look like on Spotify.
Yeah, I put a few things in there already. But yeah, add some stuff when you can. And... Yeah, hopefully we will be back sooner than like a month. It's been like over a month or so, but
I think it's been over a month.
Yeah, summer's busy, man. But yeah, again, Traveler's Rest, Friday at No Fun, Agalock in Australia, beginning of September.
Yeah, let's definitely have a show to talk about that.
The Australia show. Yeah, let's do that. Then Moonbladder. Few shows coming up with Feral Season from Profound Lore. If you don't know Feral Season, check it out. Awesome black metal on Profound Lore. And you have another show coming up too, right, Nick?
Yeah, on September 7th. Is that a Saturday?
I think so. Yeah.
Saturday the 7th. It's in Portland as well at Gill's Speakeasy, which is somewhere in Southeast. I've never been.
Yeah, I don't know that place. And
a couple other Dungeon Synthers.
Okay. And Eugene as well, right?
Oh, and Eugene with this. Oh man! So Eugene on the 18th of August is with Hermit Knight, who's from New York. He's visiting Oregon. He's playing a few shows, and I'm privileged to be able to play a show with this guy. He's awesome. And another guy from Eugene called Fern Mage.
Fern Mage. Okay.
So yeah, so we're gonna play all three of us are gonna play a tattoo shop in Eugene.
Oh shit! Awesome.
Yeah. And there's drop-in tattoos. I don't know what that means.
Oh, yeah. You just like drop in.
Like
and,
and you get a tat while the bands are playing? Or
yeah, man.
Maybe I'll get your name on my body or
Yeah,
something.
you could get I Hate Music on you. Yeah, or Guar or Kyle or something.
Guar. I'll put Kyle on my body. That'd be good.
That'd be really strange. All right, Nick Wusz, thanks again. Yeah, as always,
Pleasure, bro.
visit theearthandsound.org. Become a member of Patreon if you would like to support us. Come see our shows, buy our shit, like and subscribe. Please, I keep getting told by other podcast people that like subscribing on Apple or wherever you listen is like hugely important. I thought it was just to like give us feedback, which is cool, but apparently it like affects the algorithms, and so more people can be exposed to it. I would love to get some new listeners, spread the word. So yeah, please rate and subscribe if you can.
Sounds good.
All right.
Thanks, man. See you next time.
Thanks, Nick. I will see you at your show on Friday.
Awesome. Thank
All
you.
right.
Bye.
Cheers.
An Earth in Sound production.